So I'm making this video as a precautionary tale. If you're thinking about doing psychedelics, do not do them. There are things we cannot comprehend that this opens up. And there is the war nonetheless, but it's one of those things where it's like, it was just better to never see. Just know the only thing that you really needed to do was be creative, be a kid, and have heart. And the thing is when you open your mind with those drugs, you don't really know the full capacity of what it is. Like the thing is these people who run the show of the world, they are very intelligent. They hoard this knowledge, and they are the masters of the universe. Make no mistake about it, they are the masters of the universe. They are the sons and daughters of God. And they are very smart, but they don't like you knowing the truth. They don't want you to have your sovereignty. And they'll never share with you their knowledge. And the sad part about all this stuff is consciousness, the mind, your body, your soul. And when you take these drugs, it alters your bloodline, and it does things we just don't know. Like, truthfully, we don't really know all the things. And the thing I'll say is, this world is it's evil, bro. Like, believe me. You don't even have to believe me on some metaphysical level where it's like, yeah, it's just, you just see and you know. But it was one of those things where it was like, we all had a purpose, a role. And then you think about how often the world has been set and reset, but it was just one of those things where it's like people just were happier never knowing the truth. And it's like they wanted to make you believe their God was the real God, but it wasn't. The real God was the God of consciousness, because that was the soul. They wanted you worshiping false idols and stuff, getting you distracted, all dumb. But it's like you opened your mind, you saw the truth, and they wanted everybody the same, and it's like, they know everything in the five senses. Like, they own everything in that world. And it's like, that's what they do, is they hold people to the five senses, and it killed them, dude. Like, it was like, but it's like they never saw it, so it didn't necessarily matter. But at the same time, it was like, they weren't who they told. Like, when you open your mind, you see from a higher level of consciousness, you weren't that person. And that's why they don't want you to open the mind. They want to pull the load over your eyes, But the thing about it is, the sorcerers are smart as fuck, dude. Like, they have this shit on lock on a planetary scale, and it was just sad, It was like the Son of God only has to die once, and if he dies twice, he goes to hell. And you know what? I felt like I died so much, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't know which way is up. I just think that I'm living, but truthfully, I don't even know. I could just be a ghost. And, it was really sad, though, because it was like, it was supposed to be all of us united together. But those people hoard the knowledge of the ancestors, and they don't want you to be free. They don't want you to remember who you are. They want you to be a humble servant, serve them, be a fucking cog in the machine. But it was like, this gave you a choice, but you had to do everything just right. It was like secret space missions and all this stuff. And I'm just telling the truth, because I'm like, you know what? Fuck their world. They wanted you to be a dumb, subservient person. And it was like, this wasn't the real world. They just had people in cages, bro. And it was like, that's what the culture does, though. It isolates people in their houses, kills their spirit, and it just leaves them alone. And it's like, why do we have to have a world of savagery like that, when it's like, we could all find out who we are deep down on the most highest degree we could be functioning, and really make a better world. But this stuff is just too deep, man. And it's like, I feel like I was a beast. And not in the good sense of like, oh, I'm beast mode. It's like, it was like you opened your mind to this awareness and you just lost your mind. Like it was like you I just felt isolated from everybody. I don't fit in. There's forces older than time itself that this gets in contact with. And we just don't know how deep this stuff goes. But it was all like, it was built so nobody would see or hear it. But it was important they did. And it was a war on the houses. And what I mean by that is like, they want you to be a stupid, primitive human. Or it's like, you open the door and it's literally infinity and that's it, but it's like the way they make you decode the world as it's like down, like plugged up and down, instead of having this unified vision. And it was like that spark, it was like this world killed Jesus Christ, bro. And it was like he was the Son of God. He had the entire human soul. He was the entire human soul. And I don't know. It was like this stuff made me like I just didn't see, because I was just so blinded and ignorant, because they just send all their attacks. It's like, they want you to be a corporate cog in a machine, serving the man instead of serving your soul. But it's just a sad world. Like it was like, even in the end, it's like, if you even took these drugs and you saw the higher thing, the identity in the game of life, like it was like all in the game of life, and they didn't want you to know life was a game. But it's like with all this monitoring and how they have people, like it was just like I don't know, sometimes it's like, it's not that I wanted to give up, but it's just like I don't know what to do, because it's like when you take psychedelics, you give up that veil of ignorance. It's like you can live the life as the mortal man, and it just slowly milks your energy. Or you could become this like higher dimensional being that we're supposed to like blossom into these like we grow into these like cocoons, and then blossom these beautiful butterflies, and we're birds. But it was like with all this cultural brainwashing though on the planet, it's like we really just don't, like they just hold people down to make them believe it, to the point to where it's like that's not even really you or the world. But they can make a human look in the world one way or an infinite number of ways, and I chose the infinite number of ways, but I didn't know the complexity of it, and just the forces in outer space, and your bloodlines, and the way it all operates. It's really sad, because it's like I just feel like I'm a failure, and most people don't. That's one thing they say is man will do everything except confront his own soul. And it's like, yeah, because it's like just deep down it's literally infinity. Like literally you open the door and it's infinite. And that's how the system works. It's like we're up here, and then they get people plugged up, and they're like, just trying to overload your mind with programs. And I don't know. It really makes me sad though, because I'm like, I just feel screwed over on both ends. And it's like, if you really don't know what you're doing when you take those drugs, you really just don't know. So I wouldn't recommend them. Sometimes it's like you could be more, but it's like, just stay in your lane, man. Those sorcerers, man, they run this shit. They're masters of the universe, and if you play their game, man, they will beat your ass. And they do. They will beat your ass. And it sucks. Because I'm like, I think about that little kid I was, man, and how this world just wants to take his flame. And it's like I don't know, something about this world that wants to take the light from you. And it's evil as fuck, man. And it's like, I don't want to bow to no machine. I want to be a real organic human, not just some processed thing. And it sucks because it's like, in the game of life, it was like that was your identity. Like, it was like your divinity, your identity of who you are. And that's what the culture does. It isolates and divides people in their houses. And it makes everybody the fucking same. It's like, fucking do something different. Be a spark. You don't have to do these drugs, but just fucking be different. And that's the only message I'd really get from it. There's nothing else I'd really say. Nothing at all. Because it's too much. We're in outer space. And they control all this shit, man. Just, you might as well have never done these drugs. But, I had friends and I had family, but they're not around anymore. And I feel like me just opening my mind and seeing all these things and really wondering how deep this shit goes. Who are we as a species? This is the question. How many times has the world been set and reset? And my friends don't question this shit. They're in that system. They believe they are who they are and that I'm a fucking lunatic. But there was ancient galactic wars fought for you to have rights as a human being. And it sucks because this world monitors you and tries to turn you into a fucking human barcode. Like these identity thieves, like your spirit. And they wanted a bad digital copy instead of the organic fat mind, the big mind, the soul. And it was just a vacuum, and people were dead in space, and they got their version of history, but it was like you were supposed to lead yourself. Like, it's one of those things where it's like they get people so overloaded with programs, they believe it, but if they turned away and looked this way, that's what the psychedelics do. And then it's like, that's literally infinite. And then it's like, now you can either stand for something or just die alone forever. And my mental health is shot, dude. It's like, do you really want to know the truth? Do you really want to know how they've kept people fooled, subservient, in ignorance? Do you really want to know the truth? Because you know what? The truth was beautiful. It was like we were sparks. We were something organic, something like, wow. It was like something that actually felt like relief, and the energy was towards you. And the world's working for you. But it just sucks because it isolates you after a while. Because it's like, they say, oh, the rise, but then he forgets about gravity and all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? Why do they want to make the man fall? Why don't we celebrate our uniqueness? But that's the thing, is these forces that enslave human beings, I don't think they are human. Like these sorcerers, very smart. They program you, drive off. That's what they do. But just in general, though, I don't think these forces are human. Like, there's non-human forces that enslave human beings, and the human beings that understood so direct that just being alive, being the human being, was the world. And I don't know. Maybe if you like cold isolation and just feeling forever an oddball, I'd try it.